In the studio this morning, Chambersburg Mayor Brown and Alan Coffman, the town council president representing the First Ward. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Glad you got here okay.
Yep.
How are the streets in Chambersburg this morning, Darren?
They're all right. State roads are better than borough roads, but that's to be expected with snow.
Oh, it is. It is indeed. And Chambersburg Area School District is called off school today, and their offices are closed as well.
Yep.
So that's a sign of what's going on out there this morning. But how hard when we have a situation like this in the city? I mean, how much do you have to do with that specifically?
I don't really have much to do with that. It's more so the borough manager with the public works, and then it's interesting. A lot of people don't realize how the problem areas of the roads are detected. The police officers are driving around all the time, and so as they drive around, they will find places where it's slippy, and they have a really good feel of how the roads are, and once they see problem areas, then they report that into the borough, and then the borough knows where to plow and put down salt.
Do you get the calls for it though? You get called at home or a lot?
I do not get those. I mean, I oversee the police department, and the chief of police runs it. But as far as the roads, that is more so the borough manager.
Okay. So what's going on this week, Alan? And we've got a town council meeting or city council meeting. Is it tonight?
Well, Steve, we do have one tonight,
Okay.
and it's kind of unusual that we're getting back in the swing of things here this year, but it's really a pretty short regular agenda tonight.
Okay.
There's only probably 6 or 7 items on it, and nothing of any large consequence other than the fact that we're going to be asked to listen to some information about stopping the state legislature from adopting a plan to give out more local retail real estate tax exemptions to people here in the borough. So that's going to be probably one of the topics of discussion tonight. Of course, we have concerns about that because it's always hard to keep revenues up.
Sure.
And if this would happen, it'll have a direct effect on us of losing revenue for the borough. So I think probably we'll find that we're against it, and we will probably send a letter stating that to the state, to our representatives.
How much stands to be lost? Do we have any ideas?
I don't know. I haven't seen any numbers on what they're talking about. It just sounds like it's a chance for them to open up what would be exempt property. So I don't know the whole background of it, other than it's going to change it if it passes.
Now, this would be a good opportunity too if you have a question for Town Council President Alan Coffman or for the Mayor Darren Brown. They're in here this morning, and all you need to do is call us on the Boost Mobile First News line 877. No? Okay.
Email.
Email. That's right. I'm sorry. Email is much more efficient anyway. It really is. But if you want to give an email, send an email to Darren Brown, the mayor, at chambersburgpa.gov. Mayor at chambersburgpa.gov. Okay. And you can also go to the website to www.borough.chambersburg.pa.us. So that's the more efficient way to actually do things.
Actually, there's also another. It'll take you to the same website, but an easier website to remember is chambersburgpa.gov.
Okay.
It doesn't have all the dots in there.
So what's coming up this week in Chambersburg? Anything special?
We have Ice Fest coming up next weekend.
That's right.
That's a big event. I mean, we rival Hershey. I mean, there's a bit of a rivalry between us and them. The question is who has more ice sculptures, and I'm not sure the technical answer, but we're at least at the top there in the state, and it's a big event. And for me, I think it's a really huge event, particularly for downtown businesses, because there are 2 events that bring the most amount of business down to the customers down in the Chambersburg businesses in downtown Chambersburg. It's Ice Fest and Small Business Saturdays. So basically the logic behind that is the streets are still going, and so you have all these people crammed onto the sidewalks, and it's cold, and so they want to get out of the busyness and get into the warmth, so they go into the shops that are right there. So
excellent.
It's a good plan.
How long has Ice Fest been going on here? I mean, it's something that's been going on for many years.
It seems like it's been a long time, but I can't tell you exactly.
2000 that started, somewhere around there?
I'm not sure. But as far as the size of it, to sort of back up what Darren said there, I believe last year we were either number 1 or number 2. I think State College was the one, the locality that's that's had the most sculptures in the past,
You're
based
right.
on the number of ice sculptures.
And
But I think we exceeded them last year.
Was State College, is that actually the Ice Fest, or is that their first night they do on New Year's Eve? Because they have a lot of ice sculptures out there too. It's
Yeah.
beautiful stuff.
Yeah,
I'm always
sure.
astounded at what the
I've
people
never
can do.
gone to it.
Yeah, it's
So I'm not sure.
it's pretty neat. I guess Ligonier had one last week too. So are these? I'm curious. Are these Ice Fests? Are they something that are licensed? Is there Ice Fest registered trademark that different cities can adopt and use for their own? Like I know First Night, I think, is one of those things where you can't call something First Night, and I could be wrong on this, unless you do certain things and do it in a certain way. So is this something like that, or is this just all completely originate here in Chambersburg, and it's been going on for a number of years now?
And not,
That's a good question. I can answer that.
I don't think there's been an issue. Downtown Business Council would have a better idea, but I haven't heard anybody say, "Oh, this is our thing and we can do it."
Yeah.
And I know it didn't originate with Chambersburg. We got it from somewhere else, and
Yeah.
we just caught on to it.
And I've always been curious too. What do you do if it's too warm?
We have it anyway.
And
They
A
still
couple
do
years
it.
ago,
what is
they
it, Waterfest?
yeah.
Because I'm just curious how they do that. Can they keep the ice sculptures cold or cool enough if the weather gets a little warmer?
We're at the mercy of the weather with Ice Fest.
Oh boy! So do you want to discuss last week's town council meeting a little bit? What came out of that? Anything special or things that need to be discussed?
I don't think there was anything really that special in the last meeting we had.
Okay.
Pretty late meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
We've-
no, Clem Malott.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. That was a big issue.
Restaurant inspections.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's go there.
And that is a good place to start. Clem Malott is the representative of the company that we use for restaurant inspections, CCIS. And he was there to make a presentation, which was promised the end of last year. People wanted to know what was going on, why their rates were what they are, and he came to make a presentation to council. And he made a very complete and full presentation, including photos of places that have been shut down. So if anybody came there with any ideas that they don't do a good job, they do a good job, and they've done this for years for us, and we feel very comfortable with them. But I think a lot of people have the idea that the borough uses restaurant inspections as a moneymaker. It does not use it as a moneymaker. It makes us zero money. That money that's paid goes to the contractor, CCIS. We don't have anything in with that money. The second part, I think, that I tried to bring out the night that we had that meeting was that the inspections that are done by the state, if you look at the newspaper, a lot of people say that the inspections done by the state, they seem to think they're better than the inspections we get here. They all work off of the same sheet, so to speak. The inspection sheet is shared by all people that do these sorts of things. And honestly, I think CCIS and Clem's people probably do a better job than what the state would do. And that's my feeling because we've worked with them for a long time. I feel very comfortable with them.
I'm curious though, why are there two sets of restaurant inspections, one at the borough level and one at the state level?
Well, years ago, the borough decided we were going to do it. If you let it up to the state, they'll say they do it once a year. Whether they do or not, I don't know. But the reason we decided to do that was that we felt it was for the safety of the people in Chambersburg, and we have no problem doing those inspections. They probably do 250 of those a year.
I didn't realize either until right now that restaurant inspections anywhere were done by outside contractors. That's something that was completely new to me. It's 7:20, 20 minutes after 7 o'clock, and this is the all-new First News. Guests this morning, Mayor Darren Brown of Chambersburg and Town Council President Alan Coffman, who represents the First Ward. Mayor Darren Brown from Chambersburg is in with us this morning, along with Alan Coffman, the Town Council President. He represents the First Ward. And we're just talking about things that are going on in Chambersburg right now. We talked about Ice Fest and restaurant inspections. I just learned something new about that this morning. And you have some openings on the police department as well.
Yes, in the police department, we have two new openings. One is for a new police officer, We have a new police officer position opening up because we have one of our senior police officers is retiring. And they also have a new position called the Community Service Officer. Now, the Community Service Officer, the really unique aspect of this is that it's bilingual required, both Spanish and English speaking, which the borough, and Alan can attest to this, the borough council and the borough government has really been trying to get more bilingual Spanish-speaking employees. It can be a little difficult, but we want to find newer and better ways to help reach out to the public.
And the Hispanic community is growing every year.
Yes, the Hispanic community is growing every year. It's not the only foreign language group that's here, but it is the largest at the moment. And some other groups are Haitians, Koreans, and turns out we also have some Russians here. But yeah, I've got to start with the largest group, which is Spanish speaking.
Sure.
So this community service officer, now this position would be an extra person in the police department offices to sort of be someone kind of in between the clerical staff and the police officers. And just to clarify, this community service officer is not someone that carries a gun. They don't wear a police officer uniform.
But they are they an officer or an actual police officer?
It's not a police officer. They're but the title gets a little confusing. But they are not a police officer, but they are someone who does work in our police office. And just in case anybody wants to apply, you can get an application at the Borough Hall, and the hourly rate is $19.94. And it's going to be an 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. job. So if you're looking for that, that would be a way to go. But here are some details, and I bring up an example. Let's suppose a person has their stereo stolen, and for insurance purposes, they have to make a police report. Mm-hmm. So what they have to go down to the police station, and they make a report, and there could be a police officer out on the streets, and it could take up to 20 minutes for the police officer to come from the streets and come down to the police station and sit with the person, make a report, type it up, file it. And after all that, it could be about an hour before the police officer gets back onto the street. With this new community service officer, it's someone who's in there. They can take the report right away, both in English or in Spanish, and the person doesn't have to wait. Additionally, that police officer doesn't have to leave the street. They're out there patrolling and making the town safer. So that's sort of, in a nutshell, what this community service officer would be doing.
How many officers do we have in the Chambersburg department?
We have 33 police officers right now.
Okay, and they're probably stretched pretty thin at this point, I would think.
It depends. I mean, I think 33 or 32 is right about the right number.
Okay. But
Yeah,
that community,
I think traditionally we've carried 31 has been the official number, and we've gone above that and below that.
okay.
And the going up and going down also depends on who's going to retire and how many new
Sure.
officers are in there and training. So it's kind of in flux. Somewhere around that number is usually our goal.
Now, I'm curious, someone who wants to apply for that community service officer position, bilingualism is a requirement. You have to speak equally fluent in English and Spanish. What other job skills should someone bring to this?
It would help to be clerical because they'll be have to doing some typing. People skills, of course, because that's the whole point, dealing with the public.
Probably have to deal with some fairly upset people sometimes, too, I would think.
Exactly. And, hey, if my stuff was stolen, I'd be upset too. So they have to have those people skills. Additionally, there's going to be background checks on the people. So that's something to consider.
Criminals need not apply.
Yes.
That's right.
You'll be working in the police
A
department.
lot of confidentiality involved with this job.
I would
that's
think.
coming on.
Now, you have an opening on the force, too.
Yes, in the police department, we have one of our corporals is retiring after years of faithful service. So we're looking for a police officer. And in fact, we're going to start doing, I guess it's in the newspaper, and also be doing some radio ads. But if anyone's interested in becoming a police officer, military background is preferred. Of course, also preferred Spanish and English speaking, but it's not required. And the hourly rate starts at it's $49,000 a year. Or that's not annual. That's not hourly.
That's not
annual.
hourly.
Yeah.
Wow, hourly than that. You'll have a lot of applicants for that.
We would. I'd be applying. So $49,000 a year would be the annual rate.
Now, when they apply, and I've always wondered this, people who don't have experience as an officer or maybe not a military background, what sort of training takes place? You send them to a police academy, or what happens if you find someone who doesn't have that police background?
Well, actually, Harrisburg Area Community College does an Act 120 training up there, and they do it twice a year. And I believe Darren was just up to a graduation up there December.
It was.
Where we
I
had
believe it was December,
three
yes.
officers that just graduated from there.
Okay.
One of our officers was class president, and the other almost made made the marksmanship high ranking. It was between two officers in training for the best marksmanship, and then they had to. I keep wanting to say duel. They didn't duel. They had to do a shoot off and determine which then was the best. And one of our officers,
Maybe that's a better
tiebreaker.
word.
That's a good way to put
There
it.
you go. A duel is illegal, I think.
Yeah. So we have some pretty outstanding officers that went through.
Okay, well, it's Mondays with the mayor, Darren Brown, Chambersburg mayor, and Alan Coffman, town council president. And we thank you for coming in this morning. If you want to get hold of the mayor, the best way to do it is by email, mayor@chambersburgpa.gov. And you can go on the website, too. Are job openings listed on the website, I assume?
I'm not sure if it's announced there, but if you need an application, you go down to the Borough Hall at 100 South 2nd Street.